Man,
Good morning.
Jeff couldn't wait. He just hops right in, jumps
Hey.
in behind all the graphics and everything.
I heard I was late, so I jumped in.
I got to get in. So, yes. Well, if we could just get some locusts to go with this Sahara dust, then the apocalypse will have officially arrived.
I'm telling you, it's all making my head explode.
I tell you what, 2020 is the biggest dumpster fire of a year that I've ever seen. And I've had a few. I've lost 3 parents and broke legs and, all those kind of things. I mean, I've seen a few dumpster fires, but
yeah. I'm a little scared with open up this July door.
I'm afraid to open it. All I see is that door in the episode 1 of Walking Dead. Her hands freaking out and stuff.
All chained.
Yeah, don't open it. Just, I did laugh the other day. I saw something on Facebook. It said, I'm going to get my mama to go ahead and slap me into next year like she's always threatened me. Oh, my goodness. Well, I do know that some of our churches locally never did open up, and at least one that had opened up has gone back to digital only. So, but we're not required to do that, and we're not going to do it unless it's mandated. It means our Sunday morning children's ministry and Sunday school and those sort of things are somewhere down the road. I don't know. I can't see them.
We don't know when, but
we don't know.
I know Miss Phillips is chomping at the bit a little bit on Awana to figure out what's going to go on, but I don't think we know yet.
Oh, we don't. We really do not. We really do not know yet. So, but I was visiting with someone, and they reminded me that we are called to do our best in what we can do and trust Him for what we can't do. Good morning, Viviana. Good to see you guys. Glad that you're there.
I have to say, Pastor, you are sporting a very spiffy-looking shirt this morning.
Man, I'm telling you. I was told black's my color, so I don't know if that means I'm Johnny Cash or.
Ooh, we got black and white going on this morning. We
right.
can have the opposite ends of 2 discussions. Wow.
Yeah. So, but right. Yep. So we had just a great time Tuesday night for our systematic theology class. We have had over 700 views of that since Tuesday night. So that's impressive. It's a little staggering, to think, but we had a good time, and hopefully we answered some questions. And good morning to you, Georgia. How are you? Glad that you're there, Mr. Caleb. At least half of the Slater brothers showed up to church today.
Yeah, something about some vacation. What is that all about?
Something about a bride's birthday. He needs to get some priorities or something. I don't know. So, and I know we've got Jimmy, who is in Oregon with us this morning. So I know we have Oregon and Georgia online with us this morning. So, oh my goodness. Well,
and Greenville, Texas.
And, of course, here in the hometown. Yep. So just looking out my window, and it looks like it'd love to rain and storm, but I don't think it's going to. And just crazy stuff.
Hold off until I get my hamburgers off the grill. That's what's for lunch today. So,
well, I have lunch plans with our guest teacher, and then I have a 2:00 dance recital. The first ever in the life of, well, let me see. Did one of my nieces take dance? I can't. It seems like I've ended up there before, but this is the first time I've had, so it'll be interesting. They're doing 2 shows and all those kind of things, but
Oh yeah, I've lived it. I know it.
Oh my goodness.
One of the funniest dance. Well, it wasn't funny to Melinda, but when she was teaching, the sound system went out in Commerce. I think we're in the Commerce High School. I can't remember exactly where we're at. Sound system goes out, so then Jeff is behind the curtain with a jam box. Now, younger folks, a jam box. If you don't know what that is, call me later. There's a microphone to the speaker, hitting start. That was my recital night behind the curtain. I was the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain that day.
Oh, that would be considered a mobile audio unit.
Yes.
And that was the best you could hope for at one time in life.
The show had to go on, is what I was told.
You had professional equipment, or you put a mic up to a tape deck.
To a jam box, yep.
Oh my goodness.
It worked.
It functioned. So well, it is it's been quiet around campus, and we've had I will say this, our blessing box could use some blessings. It is used quite regularly, which that's the reason we have it there. So if you're out and about and would like to contribute, you're welcome to do that. You're encouraged to do that. So I've been invited to be on Friendly's program in a couple of weeks from Wednesday, I think it is, to discuss our blessings box. So be on there, pumping up that particular ministry. And now I have to admit, it can be a little frustrating sometimes, because I know I've seen people who, because on the doors it says, take what you need, leave what you don't. And I would like to think that people would take what they need and leave the rest, because there's someone else in need, right? At least put others equal to yourself. But I know some of our guests don't, and it makes me want to scream. But God didn't make me the manager of the blessings box. So,
nope. Just the one contributing. Yep, you're right.
Hey, once we give it to the Lord, what they do with it is between Him and them. So
now, I'll be positive, because we don't know. It could just be a single person making a run for the group.
Could be.
Now,
it could be.
That could, that being efficient and all.
Yeah.
That,
Or it could be just a 20-year-old selfish.
Yeah.
I don't know. But fortunately, at least one of them is very tidy. He throws away what he's finished with. We try to. So
that's good.
I'm glad we have it. It's a blessing. It has, but.
So Joshua out on vacation.
Well, right? He took his bride out for the weekend for a birthday. Today is his bride's birthday. So
very nice.
She's got him trained up good. So
happy birthday, Sarah.
Yeah. And to Jennifer. There's our brother from Tennessee. Good morning, Tennessee. And glad to have you, Clarence. Glad that you're here. But, I was really, man, I was disappointed when we see the numbers spiking and, everyone, we're not going in the right direction. And I do want to say this. This isn't a political positioning for me, but let's do pay attention to the critical information. That's hospitalization, ventilation, and loss of life. Those are the numbers. Inevitably, we're going to see more positive tests because the more we test and those things. But let's just make sure we keep perspective.
I don't want to steal your joke if you're going to use it this morning, but like I said earlier this morning, there's no mention of church attendance in the pullback, right? It's only the bar and restaurant. So I don't think we're all flooding back to church yet, are we? So that's unfortunate, but wouldn't have been awesome if they'd have said, okay, churches, you got too many people in your buildings. You gotta back it up a little bit.
Right.
Right.
And I will say this, if you're out and about doing other things, then you can be out and about. I can't encourage you enough to come and be a part of church life. It's important, and it is all of our responsibilities to maintain our spiritual health during the time of the COVID, and you simply cannot equal in-person fellowship and worship and things in a digital sense. I'm very glad we have it, and we continue to work to make it as intimate and professional and as gratifying as possible. But there's just nothing for equal to being at home. Oh, hey, Josh, that's right.
Good morning, Josh. Hey,
going to be available for a new seat come Monday?
Yeah, well, we'll say officially Wednesday, right? Maybe I can just bunk with Josh over here in the corner. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we can put him in. We can put him out in the common space, and we'll be ready to go.
I guess it's safe to say, I don't know if everyone knows, but as of July 1, I will be officially retired for some time. So I'll be checking on Josh and Jimmy every once in a while. So I don't know if they'll get any good work done during the week, but we'll see.
Yeah, I noticed you and your bride popped by the other day, and I'm not used to the Jeff Phillips midweek pop-in. I mean, that just, that hasn't happened for 15 years. So
I know it.
So
yeah, Josh, you've got a couple little office here. So a nice chair, nice decorations.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. So,
well, I tell you what I'll do. I'll sit out at the desk out here and I'll screen your visitors so you can get some work done. I can do that.
Well, that wouldn't be too tasking, but I'd be all right. If I could get you to take over management of the website or the newsletter or some of those other things, then what we used to have secretaries to do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. You go to see a pastor and you had to get past the guard at the door.
That's right. I could do that.
Oh man, I used to have a joke, but I'm not going to tell it anymore because it's fraught with landmines. So I'll not be sharing that.
Just be careful
about if I ever had a secretary. I've actually never. Well, we've never had one at ALF, So, but.
Right. So every once in a while, I hear a little chuckle in the background over there.
Yeah.
Who you got with you there?
We've got Brother Earl in the green room, and we'll bring in Brother Earl in here. He had me a little concerned. I didn't know where he was, and I've got one prepared. I just figure you probably have heard it once somewhere in the last 15 years. So,
if it's worth preaching once, it's worth preaching twice.
It's true. That's true. It gets a little more tender each time you chew it.
What do you always say? We're on mission trips, right? This group at this time will never be together again.
Never be assembled again. That's right.
Same way when you preached it the first time, right? You're going to have different people. So, morning, Brother Jim.
Yep.
And Debbie. Hello.
Florida checking in with us this morning. So, but
so that's Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah. Jimmy's in Oregon this morning. So they're back on their normal route between Portland and Abilene. I have no idea what those two cities have in common. They couldn't be further apart. But they're running a designated route, so that's good stuff. But all right, let's see, where are we at here? All right, well, it's about a quarter after. So Jeff, what I'm going to do is let you vamp for a second, and we're going to reconnoiter the cameras down to the guest studio, and then we'll bring it back in. So I'll be back in just a minute.
All right, he's got to get offline and get his camera set. So we'll just take a couple minutes. I'll take this opportunity to wish my lovely bride, Melinda, happy anniversary. We had our 32nd this week, so it was pretty low key during the time of the virus, but that's all right. Still had a great time. So 32 and counting. Hopefully she let me stick around for a little longer. So yeah, I'm sitting here in Josh's office, and Josh, you got a bunch of highbrow books. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna have to catch up with you. So I'm just a little intimidated sitting in Josh's chair here, but I'm kind of interested in the one that says The Politics of Ministry. Maybe I need to read that. Clarence, and I would love to come to Tennessee. And I don't know what Challenge the Dragon is. Maybe we need to figure out what that is. I don't know what I'm signing up for, but well, We'll see what that is. All right, looks like Jimmy and them are getting set. We're about ready to go.
Hey, so we're down
Brother
in
Earl.
the studio, and we are fortunate to have Brother Earl Hammond with us today. And we're glad you showed up. He's working on Dominican time today. So
I was testing Pastor Jimmy's faith.
I had to say, anyway. But so for those of you who may be new to us here at ALF, Brother Earl is one of our missionaries. A portion of what you give goes to help support Brother Earl and their ministry in the Dominican Republic. But Brother Earl and I have a long history. We met in St. Louis at a TGI Fridays in downtown St. Louis through a mutual friend. And so we're going to say hi to Pat. I don't know if Pat will see this, but I want to thank Pat for bringing us together. And he's up in Arkansas and been a chaplain and all those things. But Brother Earl's with us today, and he's going to be teaching in the next hour. But we wanted to spend a little time and talk about his ministry in the Dominican, maybe a little bit about how he got there and those sort of things. And so we're just going to have a little bit of a Q&A. And if you have a question you'd like to share, you could put that in the comments, and I'll let Earl respond to that. So tell us about your family, Earl. I know that we know your family, but tell us about your family.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that Pastor Jimmy and Jeff and ALF has had a huge impact on our lives. Ministry is relational. We know that from the example of Christ. First thing that Christ did when he decided to launch his earthly ministry was he began to assemble a team. And that's the pattern that we follow. And the day that I felt God calling me away from the American pastorate into foreign missions is the time that I reached out to my friend Jimmy, and I said, okay, this is what I'm doing. Jimmy's had a long history in missions of going on mission trips even before it was popular. And he was one that spoke into my life as a reciprocal relationship, as for many years I had spoken into his life during his mission journey. And I just want to say that during this time of social distancing, pandemic, fear, people getting sick, it still all goes back down to relationships. And that's what ministry is. And coming here to the Greenville campus at ALF, my heart is just warm because coming off of the mission field in a foreign country, coming back to familiar territory, even though it's been a long time since I've been here, you just feel like, okay, I'm home. And that's what I even feel like on this call. So when we talk about family, we have spiritual family. That's what ALF is to us and to my family, is a spiritual family that we lean on one another in hard times. We rejoice with those that rejoice. We weep with those that weep. And God has been so good to us to allow us to journey from living here in the States to living in a third world country called the Dominican Republic. And we started our support raising journey in November of 2011. And boy, when I say journey, I mean journey. More like the wilderness, more like school, called the School of Hard Knocks. Anytime you think you want to do something for God, God has to take you to school. We see that in Scripture. When the Apostle Paul was converted to Christianity out of being a Jewish Pharisee, he had to go to school. It was 3 years in the Arabian desert. Sometimes I felt like I was in the desert when we were fundraising to be able to fund our ministry. One of the things about ministry is that it takes people, but it also takes money. And so God used that need to be able to form our lives, send us to boot camp, and make us who he wanted us to be. And so we started that journey back in November of 2011. Finally, in May of 14, the last day of May, we relocated, my wife and I, to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Then the first thing we had to start doing was studying Espanol. We had to start studying Spanish. They speak Caribbean Spanish down there. And so as a result of that, we had to go back to school. I thought the fundraising was the school of hard knocks, the boot camp. And then we had to learn Caribbean Spanish. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a difficult task. I tell people, you can take Rosetta Stone and Duolingo and put it on the shelf, because until you live in that culture where you have to depend on communicating, you really don't know what people are saying. You don't know how to pay your bills. You don't know how to put food on your table. You don't know how to rent an apartment, purchase a car. You're at a loss. And God takes us through those steps. But when we're in those steps, the great thing is we get to do it in fellowship. We get to do it in family, spiritual family. And that's what ALF has been to me. That's what Pastor Jimmy, people like Jeff Phillips have been to us. They're like, look, girl, we can't move to the Dominican. Well, although Jeff's retiring in a few days, he may need to reconsider his retirement destination. Jeff, we do have beaches down there.
I understand. Who knows? I may visit you one day.
In fact, you can buy beachfront property for real cheap. So I may just put that plug in your ear. So anyway, so our family is our spiritual family, and then our earthly family. We've been on a journey. Because of COVID-19, I decided to slip out of the country when the Dominicans started to shut down. I told our staff down there, I'm like, I'm going to ride out this storm stateside. You continue to keep the ministry rolling. And so they've done a good job. We've had food distribution. We've had people give to our ministry, and we've been able to get access to food supplies, pass those out. You know, in the Dominican, there's no stimulus. There's no unemployment. It's total depending on God. And so the stimulus had to come from generosity of people that know us, who gave through our ministry. And man, we were able to bless a lot of people. In fact, we blessed some people that are not even saved. Hey, go figure. And we're hoping that when things return to normal, Lord willing, that these people will be open to receiving the gospel as well. So my family and I, we are based out of Plano, Texas, Allen, Texas. And so that's where we're hanging out right now. And I was able to connect with Pastor Jimmy, and he so graciously invited me to come and share. And so that's why I'm here today. And then at the 10 o'clock service, I'm going to bring a brand new message that God's been working on in my heart about broken bread, and how God, when we get into the hands of Jesus, I'm going to use the story of the feeding of the 5,000, and how Jesus takes the bread, he blesses it, he breaks it, and he gives it. And I'm going to show you how when we place our lives, our plans, our sin, our needs in the hands of Jesus, that he will go further. He will extend your reach. He will increase your influence further than you ever imagined through that process. And so I would challenge you. And Pastor, is that through YouTube or ALF Facebook?
Yeah, they'll be, we'll be on our normal broadcast. It'll be YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
So, Brother Earl, can you give us an overview of what your ministry entails in the Dominican?
Yes, very good question. You know, the word missionary means a lot of things.
Kind of like pastor.
Yeah, kind of like pastor. Pastor of what? Missionary of what? That's what we are. I was a pastor in the U.S. for many years before answering the call to go to foreign missions. And so my passion is, number one, for church planting and evangelism. That's what we've been called to do. And then while church planting, we also wanted to meet the needs of the people. And the people that we chose to start a weekly ministry with was children. And so we've started a church and we've started a child development center. Then I figured out we needed leadership development, biblical leadership for men and women, adults. So we started a Bible Institute. Then in 2019, well, it was actually in November of 18, I was guest speaking at a Haitian church in the Dominican Republic. Just to let y'all know, there's 1 million documented Haitians living on the Dominican side. Remember that the Dominican Republic is an island that shares the same property, same land with Haiti. So we have 1 million documented Haitians and 2 million probably. Some missionaries estimate as high as 3 million. I can just tell you this. When we were building our ministry hub, man, we hired so many Haitians that were phenomenal workers. They can just lay block, sling cement. It's unbelievable. So we began developing a relationship with Haitians in our community. And then I was guest speaking 2 years later at a church, and I was preaching in Spanish. The Haitian pastor, he speaks Spanish, so he was translating it into Creole. So we had the gift of tongues all up in that church that morning. Hallelujah. And seriously, that is the gift of tongues. For a white gringo to be preaching in Spanish and a Haitian man to be able to understand it and communicate in Haitian Creole, it was an amazing experience. From that, the Lord began laying it on my heart to start a Haitian church in the same barrio where our Dominican church is. So we get that started, but I needed a Haitian pastor to help me. And I'll tell this story at the 10 o'clock, but it was an amazing experience. A Baptist Haitian pastor that I had met years prior on a mission trip. Listen, mission trips, when I say they change your life, and Pastor Jimmy would agree to this, the people you meet on mission trips, you never know when you're going to circle back and God's going to use those relationships. So I call Pastor Wilfredo and say, Pastor, God's told me to start a Haitian church. I need your help. He goes, oh, no problem. Pastor Smith Dumond is only 15 minutes from your barrio. We invite Pastor Smith Dumond a year and a half ago to Barrio Nuevo. He gets the church started. And hungry for the gospel, the Haitians are hungry for the gospel. A few of them do speak Spanish, so I'm able to communicate directly. And for those that don't, I work through a translator. Since that time, God's given us a Haitian pastor. And praise God, this Haitian pastor speaks English, French, Spanish, and Creole. He helps us in a tremendous amount of ways. But then Pastor Dumond saw our Bible Institute with the Dominicans and said, Pastor, please let me start a Bible Institute in my church. So I told him no at first, needed to make sure. And after an entire semester, I felt like it was time to get another Bible Institute started. And on the very first day where we had the inscriptions, which in English is called registration, we had 84 people show up.
Now, when you say Bible Institute, what does that look like?
Bible Institute is, you know how you're studying theology on Tuesday nights? That's us studying, and we're accredited through the Louisiana Baptist University International Education Program. And so it's a 4-year degree and a 2-year. So it's an Associate of Arts, a third-year certificate, and a 4-year, 128 credit hour degree through Louisiana Baptist University. So I'm not going to lie to you, it's long, hard, and painful. We have our first 5 Dominicans graduating as soon as I get back with their associates. They've completed 64 credit hours. The average class, like theology, New Testament survey, Old Testament survey, leadership development, missions, youth ministry, administration, those are normally 3 credit hours, just like here in the States. And so my first group is 5 Dominicans, but the Haitians are coming out in force. So in that information registration meeting, there was a pastor there from Monte Cristi, where Pastor Jimmy spent. Okay? His name is Amerique Cadet. Speaks Spanish and, of course, Haitian Creole. Well, that is actually 2 hours and 15 minutes one way from where we have our Haitian Creole seminary. We say seminary over there, but it's really a Bible college. I said, Pastor Amerique, you can't drive 4.5 hours round trip with the men in your church, the women in your church. I said, we'll just start a satellite hub. So in January, we went up there, Pastor Smith, my Dominican pastor, myself, and we have 2 campuses now with Haitian Creole Bible Institute, 1 campus with Dominicans. 25 students are in the North Coast of Monte Cristi. And then we have 75 students in Pastor Smith's church. We do live lectures and video-driven curriculum all Sunday afternoon. And then they do their homework during the week, and then they go to churches. Because we have a lot of pastors that attend the Bible Institute. And starting in September, we're going to go from 1 level to 3 levels. So we have people that cannot hardly read and write, people that have finished high school, and then we have pastors that have finished some type of formal education, and we're going to up that level as well. So other than that, we don't have anything going on.
Well, I was going to say, so this whole thing about going on mission trip as a vacation really isn't a vacation, right? I mean, it sounds like it's a hard job. So, so I have one question for you. You mentioned earlier, like in the U.S., there's stimulus, there's unemployment and things like that. I would imagine that, obviously there's no tourism or anything more than likely going on. I mean, what are the physical conditions like of the people that's in your church or surrounding communities? I mean, how are people, surviving and just meeting everyday needs? What's the challenges there?
Thank you. That's a great question. The number one industry in the Dominican Republic is tourism, especially in Punta Cana, which is the far east side where the resorts are, the north part of the country where the resorts are, and even in the capital, in the middle part. So, man, those people that work in the hotels and the restaurants, they are starving to death. It's very difficult. Now, where we are, we don't have tourism in the city that we live in. We have people that have regular jobs, everything from car mechanics to kitchen staff, technology jobs, banking. The city where our main hub is just like any city in the U.S. You have every type. However, that tourism dollar is translated all throughout the whole country. Mm-hmm. And so, man, it has really put a hurt on the people who cannot go to work. Now, people that work in banks, people that work in technology companies, they've still been able to go to work in Santiago, where we live. But in the resort towns, those employees, a lot of Haitians, a lot of Dominicans, they're really hurting. And so they're just getting by on a meager existence. Number two, it is still at 7 p.m. you have to be in your house. Now, It was 5 p.m. They have allowed us the last 2 weeks to start having public worship services. A lot of red tape. They put out a booklet, a lot of fear with the Dominican government. We had to post signs. Everybody has to wash their hands and wash their shoes before they can come in the auditorium. So the chairs are spread out 6 feet apart, similar to what we're doing here. So there are a lot of regulations. We are hoping, however, that July 1st, the hotels are going to open back up, the resorts will open, and the restaurants. If that happens, people can go back to earning a wage, feeding their families. So that's our prayers. Supposedly also the airport's going to open July 1. I haven't been able to get a ticket back to Santiago yet through American Airlines, is what we usually fly on. So our return date may not be till August. So it is very slow to open. I'll give you, for instance. So when I send funds down to the ministry to buy food, pay the bills, whatever, pay salaries, my staff have to go stand in line. And at the peak of this pandemic, he was standing in line for 4 hours just to get the funds withdrawn. To go to the grocery store was hours, because they were only letting 2 people in the bank lobby at one time. They were only letting a handful of people in the huge grocery store at a time. And now that has been cut back, probably 1 hour. It's just a mess right now. But we're hoping in July and in August that things will open back up. Now, to mention mission trips, I had 2 groups coming down to serve with us this summer, and we had to cancel both groups. Just the infrastructure's not there. If the hotels aren't open, there's no place to stay. If the grocery stores are limited. So the problem with that is that the children of our ministries really anticipate a Vacation Bible School. And we can use Vacation Bible School to reach the whole family. So huge disappointment. And I know here in the States, we're all disappointed we can't have VBS either. But needless to say, Brother Jeff, it's a mess right now. And hopefully by August, Lord willing, things will start opening and be more accessible.
So, Brother Earl, we're going to get ready to land this plane ahead of the worship service. But I want to ask you one last question. Here in the States, folks faithfully give to the church, and a portion of that comes to your ministry. Can you share what it means to you to have a church be consistently faithful in supporting your ministry? What does that mean to you, and how does it make you more effective in your ministry?
Excellent question. Like I said earlier, ministry takes money, whether we like it or not. And it takes money to run the ministry. I'm so thankful that we've been able to feed the members out of all the churches that we have. I didn't even speak about our new mountain church that we started this year either. That's a whole nother blessing. But when we have those funds, we're able to pay for food. We're able to pay salaries. Our Child Development Center has not met. We can't meet. However, just 2 days ago, I sent full salaries to the entire staff of the Child Development Center. Why is that? Well, they still got to eat. The staff still has to eat. And we have so far have not missed payroll because of the generosity of churches just like ALF. So it's a 2-step blessing. The money comes from ALF to Hammond's Mission, and then from Hammond's Mission directly into the hands of the people. So we're talking about everything from filling hungry bellies to buying Bibles and sharing the gospel.
Good deal. Jeffrey, you have any closing remarks or questions?
No, I think we're set. I appreciate Brother Earl you being here. It's always good to see you. So looking forward to the next hour. You guys tune in if you're at home. So
Yeah, Brother Earl will be bringing the message. It'll be great. So I hope that you will get up, make a potty break, get a cup of coffee, and join us back if you're not on campus already. So we'll be seeing you soon. And Jeff, you want to go up and end our broadcast for us?
Got it. All right. See you guys. Take care.